So a bit of a scenic change today, but I wanted to talk about the last couple of months, something that was put on my heart. I was led to read the book of Job, and I've never read any story in the Bible. That might be surprising to some of you, but I have never fully read the Bible. I've listened to other people read it, and I've read some Proverbs and some Psalms, but never fully read the Bible myself. I actually got my first Bible a couple months ago, and I was starting to read and like learning about where to start, and I figured I would just read it from the front to the back. I haven't gotten there yet, but I don't remember if it was a comment somewhere or a video I saw or just, God's word literally talking to me, but I felt like I needed to read Job. So I did. And I'm more of a visual learner. So I've never really, I guess, wanted to read the Bible because I had this preconceived notion that it was old, outdated language that I wouldn't understand anyway. But I read it and I want to tell you what I took from it because I've talked to some people and I've seen some other videos on this, and it seems like there's a bunch of different layers to it. Like, some people think that it's kind of a story of gratitude because you can realize that Job's life was a lot worse off than yours might be. So, be grateful because it could always be worse, kind of thing. Some people think it is about, trust and believing, but like seeing God for the first time, getting proof that he's real. Other people say that it's like the devil doing bad things to Job because, um, God would never do that, and God just kind of sat on the sidelines, so to speak, and watched it happen, and kind of to be like a test of faith. Now, I think for a lot of things, like music, for example, I like to listen to music that I can relate to, but not every lyric and every line and every word is going to relate to me 100%. So like I kind of relate to the energy, like the vibration, like the feelings, like the song or the story that I'm reading is just the example of how those feelings manifested. But if I can think about how those feelings have manifested in my life, then I say I can relate to it. It might not be word for word, like I might not have Job's exact story, but I can definitely resonate with the feelings and the emotions that he was going through, right? Because he was doing everything right. He was doing everything by the book. He was constantly talking to God, and he still had everything taken away. And over the last probably year and a half, I've been feeling that way. And it's like I've been knocking at God's door, especially for that year long break last year that I took when I wasn't doing anything and I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what my purpose was. I was just knocking at the door, knocking at the door, knocking at the door, and he wasn't answering. And, you know, with Job, it's like he still kept talking to God. He wasn't, giving up on that. And I made another video a little while back talking about how I was asked if I felt God isn't, um, you know, maintaining or keeping up with his end of the bargain type of deal. And it really got me reflecting and saying how I don't blame God. I'm never going to stop talking to God because I know that there's a reason for everything that happens. And this is where I was kind of starting to learn about Job and was developing these insights and these revelations. But after reading it, it's like I do resonate because I know how it feels to have everything, in life taken away, and you feel like you're just doing the right thing. Like I felt like I just needed to get sober and then I would be okay and I would have everything I wanted. And then I felt like I just needed to do this and then I just needed to do this. And it's like I take 5 steps forward and 10 steps back and I'm still stuck in a rut and I'm trying to figure out why and I'm trying to understand, and I have those questions like, why me? Why me? Like, I'm not out here with ill intent or, bad morals. Like, I'm really striving and trying to do the best that I can and trying to even have a relationship with God and just be the best person that I can be and try to help others. And, it gets really frustrating sometimes when you feel like you're doing all the right things and you're just not seeing the results, right? The strongest message that I got from reading Job and relating it to my story was that God has not forgotten me. And if you're in a season of this too, I'm going to speak to you. God has not forgotten you, okay? He sees you. He knows what's best for you, even if we don't understand it at the time. He's not abandoned you. This is not punishment. This is refinement, okay? And I got this message very, very, very loud and clear a few months ago that, maybe I don't have the things that I want yet because I'm not ready yet. And why would I be not ready yet? Sorry, there's mosquitoes out here. I don't have the things that I want yet because I'm not ready yet. So that means that I'm not the person that I need to be yet. But once I do, once I'm refined, once I'm, rewired, whatever you want to call it, then I'll be ready for what's in store for me. And only He knows that. And that's, I think, what the point that Job got to was questioning, why me? Why is this happening? I'm doing all the right things, I'm doing all the good things, and I'm still not, getting what I want, or I'm losing what I have. And, he starts questioning God. And you know what God does not do? He doesn't condemn him. He doesn't, mistake him. And that's what I feel like I'm going through. Like, I feel like, okay, I'm human. Like, I know that these feelings are maybe not aligned with, with God or with my purpose or anything, but I can at least acknowledge that that's what I'm feeling. Okay. And that's how I talk to God. I talk to Him like He's a friend. Like, I admit my wrongs. I go, hey, I'm sorry if that came out wrong. I'm sorry if I'm having these human emotions tied to it. Like, you know, forgive me if I'm thinking wrong. Like, show me how I should be thinking. Like, give me clarity and guidance and forgiveness where, it needs to be done. But you know what? That's real spiritual growth, because I think of it as like when you're in school and you're taking a test, right? The teacher's there, but they're not reading the questions. They're not, you know, um, doing the test for you. They're not helping you. Like, you're supposed to sit quiet. The teacher sits quiet, and you're supposed to take the test. And I think the same thing about God. Sometimes He sits in the corner. He's there. And, some teachers allow you to come up and ask a question quietly so you don't disrupt the rest of the class, right? Kind of like God. Like, yeah, we can come quietly in the stillness in our meditation and our prayers, and He might not give us the direct answer, right? The teacher's never going to give you and say, hey, the answer's C, but they're going to guide you and help you on how to get there, right? Same thing with God. So His silence is not absence. And I think that's where, a lot of people get caught up and get confused. And I hear a lot of people talk about, like, okay, well, then if God is real, then why would X, Y, or Z happen? God would never let X, Y, or Z happen if He was real. And it's like the story of Job really opened my eyes, because yes, he let the devil, if it is the devil doing these things to him, I'm not an expert. I'm just here sharing in real time what I'm going through, my thoughts, my insights. I'm not here to preach to anybody. This is my first time reading it and my first time speaking about it, honestly. Like, I was always afraid to talk about God, number one, but talk about the Bible because it's so new to me, and I feel like you have to almost be an expert to speak on it. But I've gotten out of that, and I'm trying to voice how I feel. It's very difficult for me sometimes to voice things. Like, I can make sense of it in my head or in my gut of how I feel, but I can't put it in the right words. I feel like it comes out wrong, or I completely miss the mark or forget what I'm saying, like I'm doing right now. So I think for me, what I take from Job is, you know, we might not have all the answers, and that's okay. And we might feel like God's not answering, and that's okay. We're in a season of refinement and building our foundations and building our character to be who we want. And then we'll be blessed 10 times fold, right? And I keep hearing that at church. If you give 10%, then you'll get 10 times back. And I've struggled with that. And that's still something I'm working on too, because, you know, they always talk about like monetarily, but I can't really give monetarily right now. So how can I give back in other ways? And I think that, making content is one of those ways. But I feel like, I'm just going to reiterate this again. It's like I feel like I'm doing all the right things and I'm still not getting blessed. I feel like I was supposed to get sober and then I went through even more loss. And it's like one thing after another. Like, when is it going to end? And I got to the point where I thought, maybe I'm just meant to suffer, you know? But I've really come to peace with that. And it's not, suffering in a negative way and that's the end all be all and that's, all she wrote. It's maybe I'm meant to suffer so then I can come out on the other side and, if, for example, be able to speak and share it with you guys. If you're watching this and you feel like, maybe you could relate a little bit to Job and feel like you're lost or like God's not answering or you're just hitting roadblock after roadblock, just remember that you're being strengthened, okay? And there really is a reason for everything. And I know that sounds so cliche and I hated hearing that before, but it really is true when you just step back and take a look at things like from a bird's eye point of view, right? Zoom out, okay? See the bigger picture. You're never going to be able to see everything like God, but have that, understanding that He does and He sees it for everybody, people that you haven't even met yet. So you never know what can happen, and just keep going, keep questioning, keep praying. Don't stop talking to Him because He's always listening, even if it doesn't feel like it. There's so many times I could explain to you how I've looked back over the last 6 months, even, and see how I've come to terms and I'm at peace with where I'm at. When a year ago I was digging my nails in the mud trying to grasp onto controlling how it's going to work out. And, the real faith and trust is in surrendering and, enjoying the journey. Because, I always say this, tomorrow I couldn't wake up. I could not wake up tomorrow and it would be a completely different story, right? Only God knows that. But when you stop trying to control things and you truly surrender and you truly listen to your intuition and listen to God, you'll realize what He's doing. And when you finally realize, man, that feeling is incredible. So if this video resonated with you, please hit the like button, subscribe for more. Let me know what story in the Bible I should read next. Let me know if this is something you want to see more of, and just kind of go through my thoughts and what I've learned, what I've felt, what I've heard from God myself. And if you feel called, drop in the comments if you've read this story, how you relate to it, what you take from it. I really like to start, getting discussions going in the comments and really learn from each other. And I know I have a lot of you on here that routinely read the Bible, so I'm interested in hearing your perspective. I know I'm still a newcomer, whatever you want to call it, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Also, exciting news. I had somebody ask me, so I figured I would just let you guys all know. But there's a couple little changes I've made to my channel. If my videos have ever helped you, encouraged you, inspired you, or you just feel called to support me, I now have a Buy Me a Coffee link. It is in the description. I also have a link tree that has my spiritual word search puzzle book that I created on there. It's available on Amazon. And then I also have affiliate links on there for different products and services that I recommend. I never want to be salesy or gimmicky, so that's something I'm still kind of navigating with this YouTube journey. But I will tell you that I will never recommend something that I don't personally believe is helpful or useful or that I haven't personally used. So check that out. Those links are in the description. There's also all of my other social medias on there if you're not following me on any of those. I do post a variety of content on different platforms. So there's a little bit of everything for everybody, and pictures and videos and everything else. So thank you, and Until next time, remember to stay kind to yourself. I love you. I'm so proud of you, and I'll see you in the next one.